Now, as a Ways and Means member, when I'm in that room, and there's 26 of us, and 25 of us are from, well, 24 of us out of the 26 were from non-SALT states. Think about how hard it was for me to try to get them to triple the SALT deduction. But we made the convincing argument, and we got them to triple the deduction from 10 to 30,000, which for New York, for our district, covers 98% of our district. Elise, after we passed it out of the House Ways and Means Committee, Elise really showed her leadership, and she brought the Speaker, other New York members, Freedom Caucus members, people who were opposed. I like to call them the low-sodium members. We're the salty members, they're the low-sodium members. She brought them all together and got us another $10,000. Now we're at $40,000 for the SALT deduction. But most importantly, Elise, as a New Yorker, understands why that SALT deduction is so incredibly important. It is because our mayor, our governor, and the Democrats keep taxing New Yorkers to death. And that is why it would be fantastic if Elise Stefanik were to announce that she wanted to run for governor of the state of New York. It's no pressure. It's no pressure, Elise. I think Staten Island would be thrilled, because she is the type of fighter that we need, and she is the type of fighter that New Yorkers deserve. And so I'm very honored to introduce my good friend and ally in Washington, hopefully our next governor of the state of New York, Elise Stefanik.
Let's hear it for your great Congresswoman, Nicole Malliotakis. Nicole, thank you so much for that kind introduction. I will tell you, it has been amazing to travel across our great state, which I've done for the past number of years, to see each of our Republican members in their districts, how hard they're working for their constituents. And Nicole, I know that Staten Island is Nicole country. It is certainly Trump country for sure. You guys turned out big time in the presidential election. And that doesn't happen overnight. That's because of strong Republican leadership at the local level. So I want to thank your Staten Island Republican County Chair and Assemblyman for his tremendous leadership putting this together. Thank you for all you do. And I also want to thank, we have other members of the Assembly, we have other local elected officials here today. Thank you for everything you do day in and day out. And to the supporters, whether it's carrying petitions, whether it's donating, whether it's putting out yard signs, that all matters every single election cycle. But let me cut to the chase. Are we ready to fire Kathy Hochul next year and save New York? Yes, we are. Leadership matters. What have we seen at the presidential level? Nicole and I have been in Washington seeing the abject failure of Joe Biden, whether it was the open border crisis, whether it was the crime crisis, whether it was the economy in shambles, whether it was the weak national security with the catastrophic withdrawal from Afghanistan, Putin invading Ukraine, all on Joe Biden's watch. Or, some may argue, other people using his auto pen because he could barely get through the day. Leadership matters, and what have we seen in just a few short months of President Donald J. Trump in the White House? We have seen an economy booming, the highest consumer confidence in our lifetime. We are seeing a president who is securing the border, who is deporting illegal immigrants, deporting pro-Hamas terrorists, protecting our national security, and putting Americans first. We are seeing a president who, after a generation of failed trade deals, negotiate for fair trade, standing up for American manufacturers, American small businesses, and the American workers. This is about putting America first. And let me tie this back to Kathy Hochul, because I started by saying leadership matters. And yet all this positive momentum at the national level, what are we seeing in our home state in New York? We're seeing an abysmal economic outlook. We have the highest tax state in the nation under single-party Democrat rule led by Kathy Hochul. We have sky-high regulations that are running small businesses out of our state. We are seeing families. We lead the nation in a mass population exodus. We've seen us lose a congressional seat because of that population exodus. And they're not leaving because of the weather. I say this as someone who's proudly from upstate New York. They're leaving because of the policies in New York State led by Kathy Hochul. We also have energy prices through the roof because we have a governor who prioritizes the Green New Scam rather than energy independence in the state of New York. We have so many natural resources here, and yet they are doing giveaways to AOC's Green New Deal. And who's paying the price? Everyday New Yorkers in their utility bills and your energy bills every single day. And on top of the economic issues, right here, she is taxing people in order to get to work. We need to crush congestion pricing. It is anti-worker. It is anti-New Yorker. Nicole has led, and I've been proud to stand with her arm in arm. That's how out of touch Kathy Hochul is in our economy. And in Albany, we have the most bloated budget in my lifetime. You compare us to states like Florida and Texas, we are spending more in our Medicaid mismanaged program in the state of New York than their entire budgets are. It is a disgrace. We've seen a skyrocketing in spending our taxpayer dollars. And what did she just slip into the budget? A $10 million bailout for Tish James to defend her criminal action. We're paying for that, folks. It's unacceptable. And on top of the economic crisis, we have a crime crisis in the state of New York. Kathy Hochul has prioritized illegals. She has prioritized criminals over law-abiding New Yorkers. Kathy Hochul leads today's Democrat Party of defund the police, of failed bail reform, of releasing criminals onto our streets, of the pro-Hamas agitators on our college campuses. We need a governor who will strongly back the blue, because I will tell you, New Yorkers support our law enforcement. We support our NYPD. We support our county sheriffs. We support all of our law enforcement officers and first responders. And on top of the crime crisis, the New York Democrat Party, there is a corruption crisis. We have not had a Democrat governor who has been able to complete his term, except Kathy Hochul. We'll see. It's an open question whether she's able to complete this term without a corruption crisis. And it's because this single-party rule in Albany, it has led to a cover-up of the nursing home scandal led by Andrew Cuomo. It has led to the crushing of the Moreland Commission, which is responsible for being tough on ethics and doing investigations. It has led to these taxpayer-funded bailouts for criminals, and it has led to multiple Democrats going to prison from Albany. Folks, I've seen this in my lifetime. Nicole talked a little bit about my story. I'm proud to say I'm born and raised New Yorker. I am from upstate New York. It's where I represent today. I grew up in my family's small business. My parents were born and raised in New York. They still live there today. And I grew up seeing how it became more and more challenging to own and operate a small business in the state of New York. I was the first member of my immediate family to have the opportunity to graduate from college. I graduated from Harvard, but that's not the achievement. The achievement is graduating and staying a Republican. That's the achievement. And after working in Washington and then going back home to work at my family's small business, I decided to run for Congress at the ripe old age of 28. And no one thought I had a chance. This was a seat held by a Democrat. I traveled alone with no staff to the 12 counties in that district at the time. And we ended up winning that district, flipping it from Democrat Republican, winning it by 20 points. We have locked down that district, putting up the highest margins of any Republican in New York State. winning independents, winning Republicans, of course, but also winning about 20% of Democrats, because we are focused like a laser on putting New Yorkers first, putting our constituents first, and delivering real results every day. That's what I'm known for in my district. That's what our next governor needs to be known for, putting New Yorkers first. But we didn't stop there. As Nicole mentioned, I don't hide from tough fights. When we run to win. And when President Trump was experiencing that unconstitutional, radical Russia hoax witch hunt, I was the most junior member on the Intelligence Committee, and I was the tip of the spear defending him, serving on his impeachment defense team, and making sure that we are standing up not only for President Trump, but for the Constitution and the American people and election integrity. What did that lead to? That cycle, after the impeachment hearings, Democrats raised more money to defeat me than any other Republican member of Congress on the East Coast and probably in the entire country. And we fought and we won. We outraised them, we outworked them, and we put up the highest margin of any Republican in the Northeast. But we didn't stop there. When Liz Cheney lost her way, I was proud to step up and defeat Liz Cheney, serving as the House Republican Conference Chair. I was proud to help lead and work with my New York colleagues to deliver the House majority, flipping those key seats in New York. We would not have the House Republican majority were it not for flipping seats on Long Island, in the Hudson Valley, and in upstate New York. And I was proud to be the first one to endorse President Trump in his 2024 campaign. I say all of this because whoever is running, and there are a lot of great names out there, it needs to be the toughest fighter, who has taken on the media, who has taken on the radical left, who has taken on the naysayers, and is a proven winner. And I think about that hearing with the college university presidents. Have you all seen that hearing? Raise your hand if you've seen that hearing. It's the most watched hearing in the history of the United States Congress. And it encapsulates today's radical far-left Democrat Party. And in that hearing with Harvard, Penn, and MIT, this is, of course, after the Hamas terrorist attacks on October 7th, when anti-Semitic attacks skyrocketed in our college campuses, I asked a very direct question. Does calling for the genocide of Jews violate your university's code of conduct? And I asked it expecting the correct answer, which is yes. I asked that assuming they would say yes. But they didn't. They said, quote, "It depends on the context." And the world heard. In a week, there was 1 billion views on that testimony. In 48 hours, the Penn president was pushed out. In a month later, the Harvard president was pushed out. We had multiple preemptive resignations of other university presidents. And I say this because New York State, under Democrat rule, is the epicenter of anti-Semitic attacks against our fellow New Yorkers, Jewish New Yorkers. We need to have a governor that has a zero tolerance for anti-Semitism, that is standing up for the protection of all New Yorkers, that will deport these radical, pro-Hamas, anti-Americans. So we fired those university presidents, and with your help, we are going to fire Kathy Hochul in 2026. Thank you so much, Staten Island. I'm here to support you in your elections. Make sure you vote for Frank Morano. That's an important race. Congrats to Sid Rosenberg, my good friend. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be here. God bless.